And we've now made up a repair patch of new plywood, which is a special ply, special aircraft ply, which is 5 separate layers, but only, Martin, is it 2 mil thick? 2 mil thick. And we've cut the repair patch that matches the hole. In this side of the hole we've tapered it, scarfed it it's called, and the repair patch is scarfed on the other side, so that when it fits in and it's glued in, it ends up flush on the outside. Martin's already glued the inside face, and we've used a special aircraft quality.
It's actually a synthetic resin glue, and it's the direct descendant of what was developed during the war for use on the Mosquito and also the Horsa. So we're actually using, it's very expensive. You've got the glue and the hardener, and it's £60 a tin. So aircraft restoration is quite an expensive business.
So if you're ready, Martin, you want to put the glue on there. Martin's going to be the outside man. A fair amount of time, because the glue takes days to go off.
In this cold weather, if this was hot weather, like 35 degrees or something, we'd be working like maniacs. Otherwise, this would be going off. But in this weather, no need to rush. It will take days to set.
You only get one chance to do it, though. You spread the glue, position it where you need it to go, and then get the supports behind and the staples in position.
I'll start with the one on the top, because that will hold it up, won't it?
Yeah,
across.
If you position it where you want it, I'm nearest the cockpit, Martin.
Nearest the cockpit down the side?
Yeah.
Okay. Right, you're holding it?
Yeah, we're there. You can perhaps get one in.
Okay.
We've selected an area that we want to repair and put the perimeter on, and this is all the old ply that will be cut away, and then we'll prepare the scarf joint on that edge, or the 3 edges, like this, and that's the beginning of the repair. We then make up the new plywood piece to fit in over this whole area, and then it is glued in place like we've just done. There's a lot of work to go, but by simplifying it into sections, it gives us the best chance to do the complete repair. The next stage we want to achieve is to start putting in this top panel. We've sort of outlined the shape, and the beginnings of the whole renovation was the making up of this new section for the repair on the rotten bulkhead, and that's gone in very well, but we've since realised that the levels aren't quite right at the top. The repair strip was just too low and it needs building up, so we fitted in a new piece of wood on the top so that this piece of ply can then be level with that surface as it is down here, and it needs this section put in, but it's got to be tapered off, sort of almost like that, so that the ply will gently follow that curve. So I'm now going to try and chisel this bit so it blends in with the original underneath section of the repair. It's very much suck it and see, but I've roughly marked where I've got to start and where I've got to finish. So it's just a question of removing the wood gently. In fact, we'll see how we go, because the grain might be just going against me, but I'll just do what I can and it might split ahead, so I won't cut it off to length quite just yet. The idea is to sort of get rid of most of the wood to start with, and when we're close I can sand it. I did have a screw in there originally which held it whilst this is glued on, which held it tight on the curve, and I've taken that screw out now. It'd be very hard to chisel it back up, so I'm just taking a chance that the grain is going the right way. And it doesn't look too bad. Having never done this sort of thing before, it's a bit of a chance, but you sort of do your best, and if it goes wrong, well, we just put another piece of wood in and start again. The grain of the wood seems to be helping me, so sometimes the grain fights you and it just splits in all the wrong directions, but that's wood. Right, I'm now going to do a bit of hand shaping where I've got a bit more control, and I'm sort of going sideways because then the wood doesn't split. I've got to be careful I don't fall off the trolley. Right, I'm reasonably happy that it's almost there. So I'm going to do some sanding, and this is a decorator sander, but the good thing is it's got a nice wide surface and it's a handle as well. And I can sort of feel under the sander that the curve, you get a sort of a perception of the shape as you're sanding it. And I'm sort of helping it by blending it in a bit at the bottom too. When you feel it also with your fingers, you can tell if you've got any lumps or bad bits, but I'm fairly happy with that. We'll only know for sure when we got the ply coming forward whether we got the right sort of position. But I think I'll leave it at that for the moment and wait till we do this panel. But it's certainly a lot better than it was, and the basis for the complete repair. And again, it's all very it's approximate, you know. It doesn't have to be that precise, but well, whenever you wanted to start.
We're filming now.
Oh, okay.
We're on.
Sorry.
It's happening.
All right.
You're on.
I'm on.
You're on.
Well, you can edit what I don't want.
Yeah, absolutely. You just go through the process and
right.
explain as you go.
I'm now happy with the curve that I've put on the infill bit here. That now follows the line of the fuselage, ready to take this next repair panel. And we've marked out the extent of the panel, of the rough wood. So the new panel will go in there. I'm going to cut this bit away, and I'm going to use a Stanley knife and then we're going to mark the width of the scarf joint, ready for me to prepare that. And the objective is to end up with something like this, which is what we've done earlier, which is a 1 inch wide taper on the ply. And where it's difficult is there's nothing to support the ply, so you can't plane it, and it's very difficult to chisel. So I'm going to use a small little edge belt sander to remove the initial bit of wood on the ply, and it's not perfect, but it gives us a good start to then start doing the chiseling. So we'll get rid of the old wood first. It needs a bit of a steady hand, but if you do it sort of fairly lightly in several strokes, you eventually get through it. Got to be very careful you don't slip, because that's when you lose a finger. If you score it enough, you could almost sort of break it away by hand. So I now want to remove the masking tape. Oh, I might stick some new tape on that, but I wanted to get the 1 inch wide band for us to do the new scarf joint on. The hardest bit will be this corner, because it's got to be like a V joint. So that's the 1 inch wide strip that we've got to now remove that bit of wood like a knife edge, like what's on the bottom. The wood's very delicate and frail, but you can only do your best. What's starting to appear is the different layers of ply, which gives you an idea of how the angle is going. It's easy to take too much off, but I'll keep going till I've done the whole lot, and then I'll use my chisel to sort of finally finish it off. And again, it's very difficult because the wood is very flexible. I haven't got much to support it, but if I do it in little bits, we'll eventually get there. I've turned the chisel the other way up because I can't get into the angle, but I can with it in reverse. And it's very time consuming, but there's no other way really of doing it. And again, sort of slice the chisel rather than just push downwards, just slice it. And gradually we'll get there. Well, I've finished off preparing it with the sander, and I've gone all the way along, both down the side as well as the top. as far as I dare go, and I'm now going to try and do the best I can with the chisel to complete the most even scarf joint that I can get. To help me, I've tacked some strengthening wood behind it, which has taken out a lot of the flex in the ply, but I can only do my best, and it's just a case of working a bit at a time. But we're starting to show the different layers as we go. It'd be easier if I could use a plane, but I stand no chance of getting a plane at the right angle, so I've just got to use the chisel. The top bit was harder because the grain was going the wrong way, and I really needed to work the other way, but I couldn't. But this isn't too bad, this bottom bit. And then when I've got it all prepared, I've then got the size of the new patch that I can cut, and you fit the new patch to suit the size of the hole. If you did it the other way round, you'd never get there. You'd end up with gaps and holes. But this is sort of 80-year-old plywood, so it's lasted really well. And the glue will fill up some of the discrepancies that I can't quite just get right. But you can turn the chisel upside down, and we just keep going till we've finished. And finally I'll put the scarf joint on that new piece of ply, which will be at a bit of an angle but the same width, and we just keep going till we get there. And I'm using the shoulder plane that's got the blade, the full width, whereas the normal plane, the blade is contained in the width of the plane, so you can't very well get it in. And the shoulder plane is sort of different. It's unusual for planing. It's called rebates, and I can use it sort of right up to the edge. I can't do it all with the plane, but it's a good start. That's about as far as I can probably go. It's flexing, so it's not allowing the plane to work, so we'll carry on with the chisel. And it doesn't matter if the wood is sort of flexing, I can still remove what I want. Do it in little bits, and that slicing action again sort of helps. Chopping at it that way isn't going to work. You've got to slice it, and certainly keep your hands behind the chisel. Don't do that. And then when the new patch is made up, it will cover the whole lot. So we just keep going until we get there. The plan is now to cut a new piece of ply, that shape, and the best way to do it is with like a cardboard template. Again, it's sort of hit and miss, but it's better to make the mistakes on the cardboard than do it on the ply. So I'll have a go at doing that next. It's very hit and miss, but I've put a mark each end. Nothing high tech at all, but if I do one inch at a time, So there we are, I'm fairly happy with that. We're working on this next patch and we're getting to the point where we can make up the new patch to go on the top, and ultimately it's got to be glued in place. But an important part in the preparation is to have wood behind this, because it's very flimsy, that we can staple into so that it holds the new patch whilst the glue dries. So I've made up proper bits that are shaped, and for the fuselage it's got to be a curve, and I've used wood that we've used to repair the shape of the bulkhead, and they're properly shaped so that they'll fit in behind the ply, but I've got to get them right level with the edge, and they're wide enough that I can staple and hold them into position, but not put any staples on the bit that's going to be glued. It's quite a fiddly job. None of it's finally seen, but it's very important because the glue joint just won't be successful. And I'll go back and make sure all the staples are in properly. And although it takes time, it's certainly well worth it, because unless we've done that, the final patch can't be glued in. We're going to stick in the final part of the repair patch today. It's the biggest one that we've done, and it's on a curved part of the fuselage, so it's going to be a bit tricky, but there's enough of us here to do it.
Yeah. You've got a dirty stick there, or is it a clean one?
Yeah. Right.
No, it was always the tricky bit I found with work, is you're racing because you think you haven't got enough time.
I've got plenty of time with it.
But we've got about 3 days before it goes off.
Relay, you get the road, you get it vertically, you get a relay.
These are the strips that we're going to put on the top, and it's got the sellotape that will protect it from bonding the whole thing together as a sandwich.
On the glue.
I don't want you stuck here.
Martin?
Yes.
Can I have a look at this?
Where? Up here, right. Okay, I'm working down the middle bar now.
Right.
Below the bar.
Right.
Right up the far end. Here now.
Right. Picture on the side is quite unusual.
Right, good.
Yeah, time, tide and glue waits for no man.
Sadly not.
Difficult. Canadian squadron, we could get away with it. And so what they decided